Welcome back to Bad Things in History, where we dig up history's juiciest scandals and darkest secrets to distract you from that tragic mistake that keeps triggering your anxiety. You know what you did. Spies have always been a part of war. Usually they are recruited and trained by professionals, but for some people, espionage comes naturally. Today we are going to tell you the story of a man who spied for the British during World War II and helped D-Day succeed. Spanish Civil War. Juan Pujol Garcia was born in Barcelona, Spain on February 14, 1912. His father owned a cotton mill and his mother was a devout Roman Catholic. When he turned 4, Juan was sent to a boarding school, but when he was a teenager he got into a fight with a teacher, so he left and began working at a hardware store. Juan embarked on several career changes during his formative years. He studied animal husbandry at a nearby university. He also managed a movie theater, as well as several other small businesses. On April 14, 1931, King Alfonso VIII, the ruler of Spain, was deposed. A new government was established, which became known as the Second Spanish Republic. A few months after this troubling event, Juan's father died. After burying his father, Juan was required to serve 6 months in the military. He was assigned to a cavalry unit and hated every minute of it. He knew that he wasn't suited for the life of a soldier. When his service was complete, he returned home. His family still owned the factory, and he still managed a poultry farm. Life for Juan and his family was good, but it wouldn't last long. In 1936, a nationalist movement declared war on the Republican government. General Franco led it, and he wanted to take control of the country. The two factions began fighting in battles throughout Spain as well as Morocco. As the war progressed, the Republican government became more communist in its policies. This meant that the workers now owned Juan's poultry farm, and they took his factory too. The series of tragedies wasn't over yet. Next, Juan's mother and sister were arrested and accused of going against Republican values. Juan was able to get them released, but he was not happy living under the current regime. He rejoined the Republican military in 1936. Then one day, when asked to run telegraph wires, Juan took the opportunity to desert and join the nationalist side. But he found that experience unpleasant as well. One day, when Juan expressed sympathy for the former king of Spain, he was beaten and imprisoned. The Spanish Civil War ended in 1939 and General Franco was victorious. Juan finally returned home. He had served in the military on both sides of the war, but instead of feeling a sense of pride, he now had a deep hatred of communism and fascism. Eventually, he would do something about it. The Spy That Could. By 1940, Juan was the manager of a hotel. It gave him an opportunity to observe Spanish officials. He noticed that the Spanish government under General Franco was very friendly with the Nazi regime in Germany. Juan's hatred of fascism grew rapidly over the next several months. In January 1941, he decided the best thing he could do was spy for the British government. On 3 occasions, Juan went to the British embassy in Madrid and offered his services. No matter how many times he tried, the British refused to accept his help. They wouldn't even talk to him. Most people would have given up, but Juan became even more determined. He decided that he would become a double agent for Germany. Then the British would definitely want his help. First, he needed a diplomatic passport. He provided fake credentials which convinced an official that he worked at the Spanish embassy. Juan was given his passport. Then he contacted Friedrich Navarrete, a German intelligence agent in Spain. Friedrich was more than happy to put Juan to work. He gave the new recruit spy training. Then Juan was given money and a code book. He was told to move to England and build a network of spies. However, Juan did not move to England. Instead, he relocated to Lisbon, Portugal. He spent his days going to the library, where he read books and news articles about life in England. He also went to the theater to watch newsreels. Juan then created fake identities and claimed they were agents he had recruited. He had never been to England, but his accounts seemed reliable to the Germans. However, Juan made a lot of mistakes. For instance, he didn't know how to add British currency correctly in submitting expense reports, and at one point he mentioned that Scottish people loved wine. The Germans didn't notice these mistakes, but the British intelligence officers at MI5 did. They launched a full-scale spy hunt to find the traitor sending these reports. Meanwhile, in February 1942, Juan contacted a U.S. Navy officer stationed in Lisbon. After realizing what Juan had done, the officer contacted MI5. The British were finally ready to talk to Juan. On April 4, 1942, he moved to England and began his career as a British spy. He was partnered with an MI5 officer named Tomas Harris who spoke Spanish. Now he would be able to make a difference in the fight against fascism. Breaking the code. Over the next several months, Juan and Thomas began sending letters to a post office box in Lisbon. These letters contained reports from the extensive network of fake agents that Juan had created. During the course of the war, the pair sent 315 letters to German intelligence. Most of the information was completely useless. In some cases, valuable military details would be included, but the information would arrive too late to be useful. In November 1942, the Allies began landing in North Africa. Juan sent the Germans a report telling them ships had just left port, but the delivery of the letter was delayed until after the invasion began. Juan received a reply from German intelligence which said, "We are sorry they arrived too late, but your last reports were magnificent." In August 1943, the Germans asked Juan if he could find a way to get information to them more quickly. He complied by creating a fake radio operator. Instead of sending letters, Juan started transmitting information to his contact. In some cases, faster communication made Juan's job more difficult. The British fleet at Liverpool departed one day and the Germans found out about it. They asked Juan why he didn't warn them. Juan told German intelligence that his spy in Liverpool was sick. British intelligence helped sell the story by printing an obituary when the sick agent died. Juan then convinced the German government to pay a pension to the widow of the fake agent. The amount of information provided was so overwhelming and convincing that Germany made no additional attempts to infiltrate the United Kingdom with spies. They depended entirely on Juan's fake network for information. When Juan established radio contact with his German handlers, they gave him a code book to use for encrypting the message. When he reported back to Germany, he would send his message to a radio operator in Madrid who would decrypt it. Then it would be encrypted again using the Enigma machine. Since British intelligence knew the contents of the original letter, they were able to use this information to decrypt other German communications. Juan and Thomas had helped the Allies gain an advantage over Germany, but to finish the job they would have to implement the greatest disinformation campaign in history. Operation Fortitude. In January 1944, Juan received a message from German intelligence. They thought the Allies were going to launch a large-scale invasion of Europe and wanted to be kept informed. Thanks to this request by Germany, Juan was now a part of Operation Fortitude. Operation Fortitude was a program to deceive the Germans about the upcoming invasion of Normandy. Juan played a central role in the effort. He began sending an increasing amount of intelligence reports to Germany. In some cases, he provided 20 updates a day. As June 6th approached and the D-Day invasion was imminent, Juan kept confusing the Germans. He provided useful military information, though it was usually too late to be of any value. In one case, he decided to provide up-to-date reports on troop movements, but the German operator wasn't responding. When he finally got in touch with this German counterpart, Juan expressed his anger about his messages not being received in a timely fashion. He told the operator, "I cannot accept excuses or negligence. Were it not for my ideals, I would abandon the work." Juan's efforts to deceive Germany continued after the D-Day landings. On June 9th, he sent a report saying that the invasion force must be a diversion because there were still 11 divisions in southern England. In reality, these divisions were nothing more than inflatable decoys known as the Ghost Army. A message intercepted from Germany gave the following opinion about Juan's information. "All reports received in the last week have been confirmed without exception and are to be described as especially valuable." At least 62 of Juan's reports were used by German High Command to create a strategy for responding to the Allied invasion. Instead of meeting the Allied forces in Normandy head-on, troops were held back for the invasion that Germany thought was coming. This meant that Germany was completely unable to stop the Allied invasion of Europe. At the end of June 1944, Juan was asked to report on whether V-1 flying bombs were hitting their targets. These were missiles that Germany sent into England. Juan decided that he couldn't give Germany those details. It was time to end his career as a spy. He sent a message reporting that he had been arrested. Juan was able to prove that he wasn't being charged with any crimes, but now he needed to avoid London. He apologized to the Germans for not being able to provide more information. In response, Adolf Hitler decided to award Juan the Iron Cross. It was one of the highest military honors in Germany. The news was delivered via radio on July 29, 1944. Juan Garcia would receive one more commendation. On November 25, 1944, King George VI presented him with the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. Juan was a war hero in both Germany and England. Now that the war was over, he was worried about what would happen when former Nazis learned the truth. A new life. Although Juan Garcia helped the Allies win the war, it came at great personal cost. In order to work as a British spy, he and his wife had moved to England. However, his wife Araceli was not happy living there. She kept threatening to go to the Spanish embassy and blow her husband's cover. Araceli was so homesick she was willing to do almost anything to get out of England. Juan developed a brilliant plan to stop her. He sent her a letter saying he had been arrested. Araceli became very upset and called his partner, Tomas Harris. Tomas took her to see Juan, who was dressed as a prisoner and hadn't shaved in days. It was all an act, and it worked. Araceli swore never to reveal the secret of her husband's identity. Tomas Harris was very impressed with Juan's plan. He wrote in a report, "The extraordinary ingenuity with which he has conceived and carried through this plan has perhaps saved a situation which might otherwise have been intolerable." Araceli's temper may have contributed to what Juan did after the war ended. He was worried about former Nazis seeking retribution. He sent Araceli and the children back to Spain. Then Juan traveled to Angola. In 1949, Araceli received news that Juan had died of malaria. But he wasn't really dead. He faked his death, then changed his name and moved to Venezuela. Juan modified his appearance and began working at a bookstore. A few years later, he married another woman named Carmen Celia and had several more children. He lived in complete anonymity for almost 40 years. Meanwhile, Tomas Harris continued his career in espionage. In 1964, he was suspected of being a double agent for the Soviet Union. Before anyone could question Tomas about it, he died in a car wreck. With his death, the most direct link to Juan's identity was also gone. In 1971, the British politician Rupert Allison became interested in Juan's story and wanted to write a book about him, but nobody knew his real identity. His attempts to uncover the truth finally succeeded in 1984. Rupert figured out who Juan was and met him in New Orleans. After the truth was revealed, Araceli and the children Juan fathered with her were not very happy about it. However, to everyone else, he was a hero. Juan was given an audience with Prince Philip at Buckingham Palace. And on the 40th anniversary of D-Day on June 6, 1984, he traveled to the beaches of Normandy and paid his respects to those who gave their lives. Juan Pujol Garcia passed away in 1988 in Caracas, Venezuela. Was Juan Pujol Garcia a hero for risking his life to help the Allies? Or was he selfish for abandoning his wife and children? Could both things be true? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you want us to keep delivering stories like this, please hit the like button, subscribe, and click that bell so you never have to miss a chance to learn about how terrible people really are. Thank you for watching Bad Things in History.